Shabbat כ"ב ד'. נותנים תבשיל בשבת. We're allowed to put food on Shabbat לתוך הבור, inside a pit שאין בו מים, that there's no water in it. Again, you have to remember, the בור it was refrigeration.
either... זה לא חם, זה קר. It's cold?
Both. I'm assuming over here, you use it as a refrigeration. So you've got soup, you don't want it to get spoiled, whatever. So you put it inside the pit, so it will keep a little bit cold. So that was the refrigerator, whatever it was. בשביל שיהיה שמור, so that it will be guarded. בתוכו, inside of it, שלא יתקלקל מחמת החום. It's frigidaire. I thought it's not I thought it was the other way around, but it's one way. It's a refrigerator, yeah. So in other words, it's only for refrigeration, okay? So the question is, so why shouldn't you be? It's like over here, they tell you, you're allowed to put it into the cupboard. Of course I'm allowed to put it in the cupboard. What are you afraid of? בגמרא מבואר, so the Gemara explains, שמשנתנו בא להשמיע, our Mishnah comes to teach us, if you remember with the barn, it says don't clear the barn because להשוות גומות, so it says שאין חוששים שמא יבוא להשוות את הגומות. So you're not worried, maybe you're going to come and smooth the ground of the בור, בקרקעית הבור, inside the pit, כדי שיהיה מושב נוח לקדרה, so that the pot will lay nicely over there.
ולא תיתן לצדים. שאין חוששים. You have to say שחוששים.
No, that's why you're allowed to put it, because you're not worried. You're allowed to put it, because you're not worried that you're going to smooth it. Yeah, because it's not comfortable, you have to bend, maybe that's why. In the barn, it's right there. Yeah. Okay. ואת המים היפים, this is an interesting thing. So, like, you have to remember, most of the water sources weren't good. Wasn't good in that time. It was wells and it was muddy. Yeah, it was muddy, and the animals used to make poo-poo inside. To have wells, regular wells in like guarded, it was once in a while. Most of the water that was around, it was bore mime. It was dirty. There's floating stuff over there. Whatever it was, it wasn't good. Yeah. So the question is, you have water in a container, which is, let's say, warm water, but the water in the bore or in the river that's going, it's very muddy. You can't drink it, let's say, but it's cold. So what they did is they put the container of the warm water inside that one to cool it off.
We used to put the
watermelons. That's right, in the banyas. Yeah. Exactly the same thing. That's the idea. Okay. So ואת המים היפים, you put the good water, כלי של מים היפים לשתייה, a vessel of good water for drinking, מותר לתנו בשבת ברעים. You're allowed to dip it on Shabbat in the bad water. בתוך בור של מים עקורים שהם צוננים. Inside a pit of dirty water. Why are you putting it inside? Because they're cold. בשביל שיצנו. So that it will cool down. כדי שמים היפים יהיו צוננים. So in order to cool down the good water. Again, הלכה זו פשוטה היא. This is obvious. Why shouldn't I be allowed to do it? ולא נשנתה כאן אלא משום ההלכה הבאה. So it says, why do you tell me an obvious thing? So I'm telling you an obvious thing because of the next halacha. Let's see what's the next halacha. ואת הצונן, and so you're allowed to put the warm into the cold, and you're allowed to put ואת הצונן, מים צוננים בחמה. You're allowed to put in the sun. We already did this ruling. You remember? We had this. You're allowed to put it in the direct sunlight. But you're not allowed to put it in the sand, if you remember.
No, in the sand.
In the sand, you're not allowed to put. Yeah, you're not allowed to put because it warms it up. It's a toldat chama. You're not allowed to do it, but directly in the sunlight, you're allowed to put it. ואת הצונן, מים צוננים בחמה. מותר לתנם בשבת בשמש. You're allowed to give them on Shabbat in the sun. ויש גורסין בחמים, במים חמים. Or the opposite. You have, for example, the hot springs, חמי טבריה, and you can put cold water to make, inside חמי טבריה in a container to make tea. And then it becomes warm, and then you make tea with the cold water. Yeah? For example, בשביל שיתחממו המים הצוננים. So that the cold water will become warm. ובאה המשנה להשמיענו שאין חוששים שמא יטמינם ברמץ. And the Mishnah comes to tell you that we're not worried that if you're going to do this, you're going to put them in the sand or in the coals, as you remember that we discussed the other time. Oh, interesting things. מי שנשרו כליו בדרך במים. So somebody is walking on Shabbat, going from town to town, and there's a river, and he falls into the river, and now his clothing are all wet. Okay? שנפלו בגדיו במים בהיותו בדרך בשבת. Or he's walking across the river and something falls. His hat falls into the river. Puts back it on. מהלך בהן. He's allowed to walk with wet clothing. Yeah. The wet clothing, I say.
What's the problem not to walk משום סחיטה?
מותר לו להלך בבגדיו הרטובים. He's allowed to walk with with wet clothing. ואינו חושש, he is not worried, שמא יחשדו אנשים שכבשם בשבת. מראית עין. Maybe he's not allowed to walk like this because people are going to think he washed them on Shabbat. ויש מפרשים, that's one explanation, ואינו חושש שמא ולא סחיטה, he's not worried, maybe he's going to come and squeeze them out. So if something falls into the water on Shabbat, one is allowed to wear it. הגיע לחצר החיצונה. What happens if he comes to his courtyard? הראשונה בכניסה לעיר. In other words, the first possible place that he can come to, that he can take them off, שהוא מקום המשתמר, it's a place that is guarded, ויכול להניח שם את בגדיו, and he can put his clothing over them, שוטחן בחמה. He's allowed to put them in the direct sunlight. That's going to look like a problem. פושט את הבגדים ושוטחם בשמש ליבשם. So he's allowed to put it, to dry them off in the sun.
Like cooking in the sun.
Yeah, but over here, the problem over here is מראית עין.
לחפש.
Yeah, לחפש.
אבל הוא אומר חצר סגורה, כי
לא
יראו אותו.
אבל לא כנגד העם. But he's not allowed to do it, that people will see it. I'll tell you what the problem is.
כן, יש חבל כביסה, והוא לקח, והוא שם תלה אותם, וחושבים, בוא, מה אתה, חיבזת את הבגדים שלך היום?
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to say it over here, but there's a halacha that says that מראית עין זה אפילו בחדרי חדרים.
זה לא, אז...
It's a problem.
It's a problem?
That's right. There's a halacha that says מראית עין, even if nobody sees. If you're in a dark room by yourself and nobody sees, עדיין מראית עין. There's a halacha like this. So I don't, we'll see. אבל לא כנגד, לא ישתחם לצד הרחוב, but you shouldn't put them to the street side, שהרבים עוברים שם, that the many pass them, שמא יחשדו שכיבס את הבגדים בשבת. Maybe they're going to think that he washed his clothing in Shabbat. Here it says, ואין הלכה כמשנה זו. The halacha is not like this Mishnah. אלא כרבי אליעזר ורבי שמעון. The halacha is like רבי אליעזר and רבי שמעון, האוסרים לשטוח את הבגדים הרטובים אפילו במקום מוסתר. Like I say, it's even חדר חדרים. This allow it even if it's hidden. שלא כנגד העם, not against the nation, שכל מקום שאסרו חכמים פני מראית עין, when the sages prohibited something because it looks like you're doing something else, אפילו בחדרי חדרים אסור. Even if you're in a room, inside a room, you're not allowed to do it. Okay, good. Mishnah Hey.
As actually, you should stay with the wet clothes.
Don't put him in the sun.
Huh?
You can take them off and put new clothes on, but don't put him in the sun.
That's if he's home, but if he's a חצר של מישהו, לא,
Yeah,
he can take them off.
He can. Just
And
don't put
dry
him. Don't put him in the sun.
Don't put them in the sun. Yeah, take them off. I see.
Yeah. Don't put him in the
You can't put them in the sun. In other words.
That's right. Don't put them in the sun. You're allowed to leave them in a pile or leave them not in the sun,
The
but
bedroom.
not in the sun. That's the